Hello everyone, Zoe is here with another video and another guest. As you know, I'm passionate about helping graduate students and immigrants to get familiar with work industry and job demands in Australia, or those junior ones to get closer to the dream senior roles. Today, I'm going to interview Vikrant Khullar, who is an experienced senior business analyst. If you want to know more, hit the subscribe button and watch the video. Hi Vikrant, thank you very much for joining us today to take your time. So to start, Vikrant, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself and your career journey, please?
Cool. So my name is Vikrant, and currently I'm working as a senior business analyst at Allianz. In terms of my career, I actually started as an electronics and communication engineer. And soon I got a job with Aon Hewitt, that's into insurances and payroll. And that's how I started my career. Moved on, worked for 3 years in that organization, got a new opportunity with Xerox. And then I moved to Australia. And that's when I started with a very small organization here. It's called IRI, and that's into FMCG and data research. And now I am with Allianz, where I'm back into insurance again. Yeah. So that's pretty much a summary of my career. Mm-hmm. And it's been around 9 years I've been in the career of business analyst.
Awesome, that's awesome. Regarding this business analytics job, Vikrant, some people comes with pretty kind of like data-driven background. So they mean to have lots of technical skills. Which is required to get into this career. But then for some people, it's not required. So they don't have this kind of like technical background.
Yes.
What is the reason for that? Do we have two different type of business analytics?
Pretty much. And that's a very nice question. So probably to answer that, I'll take a couple of steps back and just talk about BA as a domain. What does business analyst means? So it's a very broad range of jobs. It's not just one role that's called as BA. It's a very broad range of jobs. And you can't just say one single job means that's how the BA job should be. But at a very high level, we can say it's divided into two subcategories, which is technical BA and a non-technical BA. And a technical BA is someone who has knowledge of some sorts of how software systems and things work. And the non-technical BA is more of a business BA that we call it. And the focus of a business BA is not on technical, but it's more on the business side of it. And with the above categorization, you'll definitely be supported by some of your skills. So I'm not saying that a business BA shouldn't know any tools, but their focus is more on the business processes, helping the business to grow and stuff like that, or solving business problems, as I should say. And the third thing that impacts both technical and non-technical BA is your domain knowledge. That's goes right next to your skill set, and that can change widely with the industry that you work in. So if you're in insurances, that's your stronghold, you love insurances, you could be a technical or a non-technical BA in insurances. And the same goes for different sectors like education, you could be in government services and stuff like that. Apart from that, with the agility and the agile world, there's some new roles coming into the market as well. And I don't see them as a new role, but it's kind of a rebranded roles with really focused responsibilities. So you could see digital BAs, you could see agile BAs, process analysts or process BAs. And again, it's a very broad spectrum of jobs that we call as BA.
That's right. So you are on technical side, is that right?
I have worked on both technical and non-technical sides. So I'm like a hybrid BA. So I started my career with technical side, and then I moved to the non-technical side, working directly with clients, helping them to solve the business problems. Having a technical background definitely helps, especially in terms of digital world. If you are aware about the cloud technologies like AWP or the big data side of it, it's a very good thing to have in your kitty.
That's awesome. So in general, what kind of qualifications are required? They should definitely have, for someone who want to get into this career, they should definitely have a university degree, right?
Yes. So yes and no, probably. So BA is not based on a degree, but it's more of a skill set. And in my view, it's important for someone to learn the skill set than just to focus on degrees or certifications. There's very nice certifications in the market. There could be entry-level BA programs, which is known as ECBA. And then you can progress to CCBA and CBAP. And there's some more agile certifications, which are really nice to have. But as a very base of a BA, it's more of analytics. It's more of analyzing the problems. So someone who has analytical thinking and problem solving skills, that's the basic skill that you require more than your education. So if someone's been working in an organization for 10 years and they want to make a switch to business analysis, probably it's more of an introspection to see how do you perform. What's your strongest skill set? If you could do some process modeling, or you could start with some cost benefit analysis, that's a very critical component of a day-to-day BA life. And probably the most important one is how's your communication, how good you are with people, because that's the really important aspect of the business analyst journey. So I wouldn't say to focus too much on studies, but again, it's more of gaining the skill set and the knowledge. And that's what makes someone a good BA than a regular one.
Yes.
So yeah, if you're starting your career, I would say you could definitely go after your undergrad and stuff like that. You could go for the entry-level programs that all the companies and even government agencies offer. So you apply for that, you wait for the results, and that's the best entry you can get into the market.
That's awesome. That's a great advice. Thank you for letting us know. And is there any specific tool that people need to get focused on it as well for kind of like entry level?
Well, for really basic levels such as junior BA or junior PMO roles, you won't need too much of tools. It's just regular tools like Microsoft Office Suite. So Microsoft Excel, PowerPoint, some bits of Access or a database knowledge if you focus on that. If you like reporting, Tableau or stuff like that is really nice. It totally depends on your interests. If you're more into graphs, data, documentation, the tools vary with that. So it's not something you need to know end-to-end of a tool, but having a working knowledge is sufficient enough that you can get your day-to-day tasks done and performed.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. That makes sense.
Nice.
So for someone who wants to be a product manager or product owner, is this position kind of like a next level after business analytics career, or do you think these two are completely different paths?
Everyone has a kind of a different view with newer roles like product owners and product manager. And there are more terms which have come up in new world with the agile and those kind of methodologies. Okay. But as BA is a really broad categorized fit, I would focus on the responsibilities of a role than the title itself. And being said that, when we talk about the next level depends on what do you want out of your career. Is it just a money hike? If yes, then there's various ways you can do that in your BA career. But if you want to be a team leader or you want to move to a people's manager, definitely those roles are not for you. So it totally depends on the factor, what qualifies as a next role for you. And for some people, it could be just moving higher up in the hierarchy of your organization. And that's very different as compared to, earning more money end of your day. So that defines what direction you want to move in. So BA, you can definitely move into solution architect space. You could, if you have a strong domain knowledge, such as insurance or banking, you can move as a product owner or product manager. But that requires a very strong knowledge of the domain skills. So I would say it's a personal preference on what you define as your next role. And being in a BA role itself, it's an ever-evolving role. So if you don't keep up to the market, you don't study too much, and you are not up to date, 5 years down the line, you'll be below market average. So being a BA is not bad, but you definitely have to continuously learn and improve.
Upskill yourself as much as
Yes, definitely. Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. So how about the demand? Like, how is the demand of this career in Australia at the moment? Like, how do you see the future of this job?
Yeah. So before seeing future, if we see the past of BA jobs, I think that's really important to understand the role. So BA role almost started when IT started. So earlier when there were assembly machines and those kind of technologies, there would be a single person who would be usually a programmer, but he'll do all sorts of things. He'll design the architecture, he'll do the wireframes, he'll do the development, compiling, testing, analysis, and everything. As the programs grew in size, as the things got more complex, the computers were more into, and the UI things began with Windows 95 and stuff, the roles started to divide. Now, one person or group of people couldn't do that. You needed a team. And with teams, you had to segregate the roles and responsibilities so that there's an assembly line, there's a handover of stuff. And that's when the actual BA role started to emerge. So instead of one person doing it, you could actually say, he's the BA, he's going to help with the requirements, this is the tester, and stuff like that. So probably in the early days, we used to call that as a programmer, analyst, or just analyst, which emerged to system analyst in 2000 or 2001-ish. Later, that emerged to a functional analyst role or systems analyst. And now we call it as a business analyst. And there's various terminologies like agile BA, a business BA, a reporting BA, data BA, and stuff like that. So till there's going to be an IT, till there's going to be computers, there's going to be systems, there's going to be business around, BAs are going to be a critical part of it. Because when there's a business, you want to grow it, you want to understand how can you achieve and give best to your customers. So for those analytics, you definitely need someone as a BA. The titles might change over a period of time, but the skill set and the role in the organization, it's going to be there for really long.
Vikrant, how is earning capacity and how is working hours in this industry?
Yep. The earning capacity and the working hours of the job, it's like any other jobs. It totally depends on the organization and the domain you're in. As you move higher up in the chain, you become senior BA, lead BA and stuff, your responsibilities are going to grow definitely. Working hours, it totally depends again on the job role that you have. If you're working on some migrations and stuff like that, I think it's worth saying you should be working out of the office hours to support that. But it's regular working hours, 37.5 hours a week at a given estimate, but you have to be flexible around what's the demand of the organization and when do you need to work and support the other team members. In terms of earning capacity, it's quite averagely placed in the Australian market, but it's highly dependent on your skill set. So if you have niche skills like you are proficient with cloud-based solutions like AWP, or you have working knowledge of Hadoop or big data and stuff like that, definitely it puts you edge over the others. And that's the higher earning salary bracket. So yeah, it totally depends. And with the COVID thing and stuff, it's really become an important role as well. So I haven't seen a drop in the fall. Yeah, it's become more important now because everyone wants BAs to work from them and help with transition to working from home and stuff like that. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Vikrant. Thank you for sharing your information with us. Is there any tip or advice at the end that you're going to give to those who graduated from university and they really want to be a business analyst here in Australia? Or anyone who immigrated to Australia, they already had kind of like a similar job back home in their country, but they are struggling to find their first job here in Australia?
That's right. So I often get reached out on LinkedIn and other platforms, and that's a very common question that everyone asks. And even I asked when I started my career as well. And someone gave me a really nice advice. They're like, if you want to start a career, talk to someone who's already in that career. Get to know those people. Try to build your circle. Try to meet them and understand what it is like in other countries. And business analysts is and how the market works in Australia, it's totally different from how it works in the United States. Mm-hmm. So it's probably worth having that connection in the market to understand what it is. And LinkedIn is really a nice place to introduce yourself, not for jobs, but to understand what the market is. Mm-hmm. In terms, if you're starting your career, I would say apply for graduate programs with various organizations. So Allianz has got really nice graduate programs. Other organizations like Department of New South Wales Health and Education, they have nice programs as well. And they do it every year for fresh graduates. Once you clear the examinations and stuff, you could start with a junior PA or an associate role. And that's very nice stepping stone to get you in the market. If you have already experienced in some other countries and you're new to Australia, I would suggest you should work on your resume and make it more suitable for the job you're going to apply. And don't just go around applying 100 jobs a day, just focus on one. And you should be confident enough that this is something that I want to do and this is what suits my skill set. And that goes for any other jobs as well, not just business analysis. So probably talk to the recruiters, try to understand what the roles and responsibilities are. And once you're really sure about that, I think that's the point you start applying for jobs. But I won't say just go randomly on Seek or any job portals and just apply randomly. Yeah. For anyone who's actually in BA space and he's been working really long, I don't think they require tips on how to get jobs. Mm-hmm. It's more of upgrading your skill set and making yourself suitable for the next or emerging roles in the market. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Such a
hope that answers.
Advice. Yeah, that was such a great advice. Thank you. Thank you very much.
No worries.
Thanks for your time today, Vikrant.
No worries. Any other questions, just let me know.
Sure. If you don't mind, I can provide your LinkedIn link as well for those who want to get in contact with you.
No worries. Yeah, that works for me.
Okay, guys. Hope you enjoyed watching the conversation. Please give me a thumbs up if you liked the video and comment below if you have any questions. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you want me to produce more video like this for you. Thank you.